Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to yet another episode of The Glowing Paradigm. I am your host Peter, aka LPD Dubuque, and this week, it's gonna be another fun week. So, this week, oh boy, okay. So, there has been a lot of discussions lately that people always ask me when it comes to certain things, like, what is the difference between tint control and true brightness control? Surprisingly enough, people do not know that there is an actual difference between the two.
Which part of that is supposed to shock me?
So, I know everyone's probably asking the reason. What is the reason? Why am I even talking about this?
Nobody asked you, so why don't you just take a hike?
Like I just said, not many people know the difference. People don't even think there is a difference. They think they're the exact same thing, which is not the case. It is definitely not the case. And the reason being is because patents exist.
What? That is crazy.
Okay, there are patents out there that do exist within the gloving community that we can't necessarily copy the same mechanic that they did or same operation that they did. Therefore, they have to go a different method. Hence why there's two different terms.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, I was one of the many people in the early days when tint control and true brightness control were around. I didn't see any difference. I didn't think there was any difference. I didn't realize that there was an actual difference. But trust, I did learn. Thank you to Zohar, who is the CEO of Futuristic Lights, who helped explain this further to me.
Oh, thanks, man.
We're going to go ahead and go right into this. So first things first, we're going to cover what is tint control. So, by definition, tint control is the mechanic coined by Amazing Lights that allows for the manipulation of the overall color of the microlight's idle color, or is known as idle tint.
We know.
Idle color blending is what is known as tint. That is what happens when it sits there and doesn't do anything, and the colors just kind of mix together to make whatever color that they mix together to be. That is your idle tint. They have 3 levels to choose from: high, medium, and low. And this is something that is affected by flash pattern choice. Now, what makes this different than true brightness control? We're going to get right into that. Don't worry though, we need to cover one thing first. We need to cover what is true brightness control. So, by definition that I know it as, true brightness control is the mechanic coined by Futuristic Lights that allows for the manipulation of each color's brightness to adjust to the overall idle color. It sounds very similar to tint, I know. However, please keep this in mind. They also do have 3 levels to choose from, and it is not affected by the flash pattern choice.
Say what?
And they don't call it tint either. They just call it true brightness control. It is literally your idle color. That is what they refer to it as. They don't call it tint. And there's a reason why. It's because of patent. Please keep that in mind, people. Oh gosh, I swear to God. If I have to do an episode to explain patents, it is going, oh God, I don't want to.
A few moments later.
Anyways, allow me to further continue. So, what is the difference? What is the difference between tint control and true brightness control? Well, if you have an EL product, and I hope to God that I found a picture to at least show you guys what happens, is that it doesn't necessarily mess with the luminosity of your light. It does not change the luminosity levels of your light. What is actually happening with EL products in their tint control is that it's actually changing what is known as the light shutter speed.
Okay.
A lot of people are going to look at me like I'm freaking crazy. Allow me to explain. So, if you have an EO product, my recommendation to you is take one of your modes, take it to chroma mode, program a high color and 2 low colors. Preferably, the way I would tell you is do blue on high and red on low. What you're going to see, as I try to show you with a picture, is that the high is going to be a nice good solid. You're going to see the low, but you're going to see the small dotting effect happening within the light itself. That is the shutter speed. That is literally how it's operated. It literally operates on micro shutters to cause the brightness to appear brighter or lower. When that's not actually happening. What is just actually happening is that it's changing the shutter speed on your lights. That's how that operates. That's how tint control operates.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, sure, a lot of people are looking at me like, well, how do you know that? Again, I spoke with Zohar and I spoke to a lot of other light engineers who, that you can operate it that way. It appears that it's changing the brightness of the light, when it actually really isn't. It's just changing the shutter speed.
Wow!
That's why when you look at something like regular full strobe and DOPS, Yeah, DOPS appears to be dimmer, but it really actually isn't. It's not actually that much dimmer. It's just that the shutter speed's so tight that it appears to be. You know what I mean? Okay. So when it comes to true brightness control, this is where it really differentiates. Instead of messing around with the shutter speed, true brightness control actually operates manipulating the luminosity of your lights. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are asking me, what is luminosity? Luminosity is literally the intensity of light. That is literally the measurement of light is in lumens, right? The more lumens you have, the more intense the light is. And I hope that makes a lot of sense to you guys.
5 minutes later.
But yes, that's what luminosity means. It's literally just the measurement of intensity of light, okay? And this is where it really differentiates. So if you or somebody like me who has an FL product, I have the atoms, I've had the ions, you'll notice that when the batteries are getting lower, that the brightness really changes. It's because the luminosity is being manipulated, not the shutter speed. When it comes to batteries being lower on EL products, you don't really see that much of a difference. It's because, again, they're not operating on luminosity. The luminosity stays the same. It's just the shutter speed changes. Okay? So, that's how you know the difference between the two. If you want to call true brightness control tint control for the sake of simplicity, that's fine. I tend to do that myself just because a lot of people know it that way. I'm not saying that FL is wrong for going by true brightness control. Is literally, the reason why they name it that way is because of patent. And it's just how it works, you guys. Patent law really is a nightmare to understand.
It's funny because it's true.
But here's one of the things I definitely want to say. That when it comes to tint control and true brightness control, one major difference between the two is how they are affected by flash pattern. Now, what do I mean by a flash pattern? Surprisingly enough, flash pattern operates off of shutter speed. The shutter speed of how you have your lights set up. You know, so if you look at full strobe, and then you look at something like DOPS, the sizes of the strobes are going to be smaller in DOPS than on full strobe, right? That's literally the shutter speed. That is literally what you're seeing being manipulated. Hyperstrobe is much longer, right? Then you got full strobe, which is a little bit shorter, and then you got DOPS, that is much shorter. That's literally changing the shutter speed size.
I know.
I don't know what else to tell you guys. That's how I'm going to explain it. So if you're listening, I'm sorry you're not seeing the difference, but that is something that I would certainly say please watch my YouTube video if you're listening so you can actually see the visual aids I'm using.
I choose to get C's.
But yes, those are your two different things. That's how they are different. Now, does true brightness control get affected by your flash pattern settings? No, it does not. Because again, it does not operate off of shutter speed. It operates off of your luminosity.
Yes! That's awesome!
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't know.
What is wrong with you?
But yes, that is your difference. Now, does one make one better than the other? No, they do pretty much. They accomplish the same thing. I will certainly say it kind of comes down to a personal preference matter. So, for example, I don't really like the idea that I see the little dotting effect within. Well, it depends on what I'm doing with it.
Alright then, keep your secrets.
So, when it comes to EL products using tint control, and when it comes to low settings and having that dotting effect, not always a huge fan. I actually would like a nice clean thing. However, if they had a flash pattern that really operated with that and allowed me to play around with the dotting effect in my strobes, I'm very intrigued, and I very much would like to see more of that. So, yes, tint control does operate differently than true brightness control, and it does give you kind of a perks. You can manipulate your low settings to really play around with that dotting effect, which is totally fine. I like that idea. It's kind of like a in-program Easter egg thing. You know, you can play around with it.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's all about experimentation, and that's what I like about it.
Much later.
When it comes to true brightness control, though, I like it because it doesn't cause that dotting effect. It allows me to have that clean, clear, low tint, or low level, that low brightness. And again, true brightness control is not affected by your flash pattern choice. Yes, hyperstrobe does appear really bright. It's just because the shutter speed is really, really long. Your true brightness control settings aren't going to be affected by that. You will see drastically when it comes to like dots on an EL product than compared to a dots on an FL product. It's just because the shutter speed on low on a dots with an EL product does not look good, in my opinion. It's really, really hard to pick up, especially if you're not in a really dark setting. Like if you're in a venue or you could probably get away with it at a festival. But if you're at a venue and there's a lot of lights, it's going to get washed out by all the exterior background light. Okay, that's just how it is. And I'm not even going to try to touch that on camera. Let's not even go there. Yeah! But yeah, that's what you're looking for when it comes. That's how you can tell the difference. Okay, so glad I finally got to cover this topic, because a lot of people kept asking me, what are the difference? Why is there a difference? But now you know why.
Why you booing me? I'm right.
But yes, that is pretty much all for my episode. I certainly hope you guys did enjoy what I had to say in this episode. This episode topic was a lot of fun for me to talk about because, again, this is something I'm very interested in when it comes to gloving. I really like understanding how lights work. I like to know how my lights work and how I can utilize knowing this knowledge to my advantage for my overall performance.
You're the reason this species is a failure, and it makes me angry.
Again, the moves and skills you have in gloving is not the only thing that's going to get you far. Understanding your equipment and utilizing your equipment to an extent that other people don't is really what's going to push you far. Okay?
Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm owning it.
I'm not saying that I'm the best one at doing this, but there are a lot of people in the schools of thought that have the same kind of thought process as I do. Utilizing your lights, is what pushes you even further. Understanding that different flash patterns work in different concepts much better than other concepts is also going to help you get farther. But yes, I think I pretty much covered everything in this episode for the day. If you guys have any questions that I did not cover in this episode, you do have the various places you can hit me up at. You'll find all that stuff linked down in the description below. Please click on that stuff.
No.
Okay, you can always ask me questions. I will always try to respond as quickly as I can. You just need to vocalize that to me.
No, I don't really feel like it.
Don't see how that can be any harder. But yes, last but not least, if you like the content that I make and you wish to help me make better content, you do have the opportunity to support me on Patreon. Yes, as little as $1 a month, you can be part of the Moth team that gets naming credits and Discord and other stuff. And there's other tiers that you can click on that will also give you guys some free giveaways, because, I'm going to be doing giveaways for refresh packs, and you get bigger products or better stuff as you go higher in the tiers. You guys know how it goes with Patreon. Please, for the love of God, support me.
Who cares?
Ah! Yes, anyways, that is pretty much all for my episode. Once again, if you want to support me, you got my Patreon. If you cannot do it that way and finances is really hard for you to do, you do have free alternatives to do. Like, share, and subscribe. It's very simple. Seriously, liking and sharing is probably the best thing you can do for me right now, because you're letting other people know what I'm doing, and it's all absolutely for free. It only takes a few moments of your time. So, if you can't give me money, please do it that way. At least you're not giving me money, you're at least helping me out doing it without costing you anything. Except for a few moments of your time, but whatever. But yes, thank you guys for watching / listening. If it wasn't for your continued silent moral support, I don't think this show has gotten as far as it has. So, thanks. But yes, that is all for my episode. I absolutely love you guys, but I am your host, Peter, aka LPD8 Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.